Everybody, today I'm going to be animating a jump and a land with a rig available online that's free through Animation Mentor, the Aang rig. So first let's talk about jumping and landing. So this is a great example here from Lerm, Arthur Lerm. You can see the link to his Vimeo page there. I found this is a very helpful explanation of a basic jump. This is just a vertical jump, and you can see the head, the torso, and the center of mass on the right there with the green, yellow, and red arrow, the circles. And the top left one is like a soft overshoot, and the landing, you can see all the poses are slightly different for variety. Top right one, there's like a hard overshoot, and then you can see an overshoot and a slow in on the bottom left, and just a slow in on the bottom right. So I think this is a really good example. You can see there's a nice offset in all the body parts of a really good texture jump. So the first thing you want to do when you are gonna animate anything really physical is try to find some good reference. So I just went online. I didn't do a jump myself in this particular case, and I found some references of people jumping high. Now, I'm not going to copy any of these exactly. I'm just going to use them all as a bit of inspiration to start this animation, because it is something that I do understand the basics of the physics of the jump because of the hang time and all those principles. So these are more inspiration. Here's a couple of animations I've done. This was back a few years ago in pre-production of Monkey King. The Aang rig was available online for free, and we were doing tests before we had rigs. So I tried to play with the timing and texture of some of these jumps here in these animations with this rig, and I had fun with it. My name is Jason Martinsen, and if you go to jmartinsen.com/projects, you can see a list of all the films and video games and VFX I've worked on, if you're more interested in that. All right, so here we have Aang in the 3D environment, and I've blocked out the base poses I wanted for this jump. So the run-in was taken from some of this reference with these guys were coming in with their arms back and used this forward momentum and this pop by swinging their arms up to create forward power and upper momentum power on the jump. And then I just decided to pick a cool, superhero landing pose to get into. So these are the important keys that I found for this jump. You can see this working from different angles. It's kind of running in and hopping to the edge of this building. Maybe he'd be hopping over something. Could create a cube here, and this would be the object that he's having to leap over, for example, right? The building had some sort of ridge system, but for now we can just move that down because I just want to show these poses. So from the side view and the front view, that's the most important angles of this animation. So here we have a character that is coming in hot, right? So nice asymmetrical body pose. It's coming in with speed. I have the feed in IK world space, and as he's coming through, the arms are starting to charge forward. Here's your kind of antic down compression, right? He's really getting down to the ground. And if you wanted on this pose, this would be the one to like really squash the character. So you could push it even lower if you really wanted to, right? Exaggerate this down. And then you have the big power stretch, and this is where the arms are now driving, right? You're pushing off the ground. And I like to, even though it wasn't actually prevalent in the reference that I found, I like to offset the leg. So in this case, I decided to lead with the screen his left leg up into the air, driving that leg forward, right? And you could even lead more with it. You could really push this. Poof. So as you're jumping, it's already starting to bend. And it's up here much higher and sooner. And the other leg starts coming up later. So now you can see at the hang time of this jump, in this arc we're following, the one leg is starting to come down and the other leg's still going up. So it gives you this nice kind of like 1-2 feel. This is a great way to get an organic offset. And now the leg that came up first is actually going down first and leads on the ground first, right? And you get your compression where he catches himself, and in this case his foot slides out and he finds pressure on this hand, like a squash on this hand. So as your body's going down here, you can see he hits the low point, kind of cushions in with the hips, but then they go up. And what creates this nice offset here is that as his butt is going up, his head's still going down. And then it has a kind of a ricochet offset where it comes up. And at the very end, it's just the head overshooting and the arm overshooting a little bit, just settling into that last hero pose, right? So from the front view, you're going to feel this kind of movement. So that's the basic important elements I've found in animating a jump. You can see here, you really need this arm drive. You can see it pushing through, and that's creating this great energy. It's great energy to have extension much higher than normal. Like you can see, you get this nice bend here. He's actually leaning back because he's coming in forward with forward momentum, and then you get the forward jump. The arms are up, the whole body's stretched. And in this case, he keeps his legs straight. So that's somewhere where we differed between the two. But there's still a lot of useful stuff in there, right? So the next step is to spline this. And this is where we get into using the graph editor more. All right, so here we've taken the time to go through and spline everything. And I started with the center of mass, making sure that the curves were smooth. He's linearly moving forward in space. The translate Y, I really wanted to play with this hang time. So you can see I really pulled these tangents out wide to get that hang time to shoot. So as he's coming forward and his arms are swinging forward, you're getting that nice compression. And if you want, you can exaggerate it as much as you want. Really compress him, and then you get that crazy stretch, right? You can see the feet are actually kind of coming together to create the stretch. The arms are really driving it. There's a little stretch in his head. The torso is a lot, if I zero that torso out, you can see the stretch I've done on the torso. And then as he gets to his top, everything compresses, and the foot coming up later, so you get that nice offset. And this foot, can start coming down towards the ground, and because it's gonna reach out at the last second, you can have it just starting to come out here at the end to the right, and then it shoots out, right? His hand will come down and take the weight of his body, and you can see I've even animated a little overlap on the sash, but there's all the compression happening here. You get a nice stretch through here, and then through these frames you get this compression where everything comes and squashes. Even the chest can come squash down, right? So these are the important things. Getting the offset in the head. From the side view, you can see, he's got a lot of forward momentum. So he's not just jumping up in this case, but he does come to a pretty crisp stop, right? But you can follow the arcs. And one of the things I like to use is I like to create a piece of geo. So if you look close on this character, there's a sphere that I've parented to his hips. And if you go to the visualize and ghost this object, you can see the arc of this jump in real time, and you can adjust it in real time. If I want to change some of the space, and this is looking pretty nice because I've already checked this arc, but if I wanted to change the spacing of something here, like in this particular frame, if I wanted him to be higher for some reason, now you can see there's a blip in the arc. It shot up right here. Whoop, whoop. So this is a really nice tool to use to track different parts of the body. You could track the hand, you could track the feet, whatever it is on the character that you find helpful for arc tracking. It's really a great tool to use. So, and then the last thing I did is to create a fun camera for this movement. So I really wanted this kind of dramatic last framing, and he's running along the Batman style. So I just have this camera zooming in as he comes to a stop. So obviously just adding on ghost all, just adding a moving camera isn't the only thing you can do, but having nice. And so here's the final piece I put together. I have an object here that he's like jumping over, I guess, more or less. You know, he could have been running between different objects on this rooftop, for example. And I made a moving camera to make it more dramatic. But basically, with the moving camera, I wanted to get that cool last pose. It just adds an extra actiony element to his movement. But this is just a pretty simple 34 frame step, jump, and land. I hope you learned a little bit from it and enjoy animating your own jump and land.